The stars shone brightly as the small human ship entered the alien planet's orbit. The human inside, named Jason, looked out at the strange world below. He had trained for years, but nothing could prepare him for what he would see. The ground shimmered with colors he had never seen, and the air felt thick and alive. Jason took a deep breath and checked his equipment one last time. It was Earth's prototype, the first human designed to survive on an alien world. Scientists back home had laughed when he was chosen, saying no human could handle this place. Now, he was about to prove them wrong. The ship landed softly on the glowing surface, dust rising around it like tiny fireflies. Jason stepped out cautiously, feeling the alien soil beneath his boots. It was soft but firm, almost like walking on a cloud. He looked around and saw creatures of all shapes and sizes, some tall and thin, others small with glowing eyes. They watched him silently, whispering in a language he could not understand. Jason's heart raced, but he forced himself to stay calm. He knew showing fear could be dangerous. The aliens were curious, but also strict. One wrong move could cost him his life. A shadow moved across the ground, and a tall figure appeared, the alien queen. Her presence commanding and powerful. She looked at him with eyes that seemed to see into his soul. The aliens laughed softly when they noticed him, pointing and whispering. Jason felt the weight of their judgment. He was small, untrained in their ways, and yet he stood tall, hoping to show courage. The queen stepped closer and spoke, but her words sounded like music he could not understand. She gestured toward a platform, a test for the human to complete. Jason hesitated, looking at the platform. It seemed simple at first, a small box resting in the middle, but as he approached, strange energy waves shot out from it, pushing him back. The other aliens laughed louder, mocking him for even trying. Jason's mind raced. He remembered his training, the instructions from Earth, and the stories of humans who never gave up. Taking a deep breath, he stepped forward again, ignoring the force that tried to push him away. With a sudden burst of courage, he lifted the box, and a strange light filled the air. The aliens gasped, some stepping back in shock. The queen her head, curious now. Her expression was unreadable. But Jason felt a small flicker of hope. He didn't know what would happen next, but he had done the impossible for the first time. The humans back on Earth would never believe this. The aliens around him were silent, staring in astonishment. Some whispered quickly, while others looked at the queen, waiting for her reaction. Jason put the box down carefully, his hand shaking slightly. He had no idea if it was the right thing, but it had worked. The queen finally spoke again. Her voice softened this time. She gestured for him to follow. The human obeyed, walking toward an unknown path filled with glowing plants and strange creatures. Every step felt heavier than the last, but he kept moving. As he followed, Jason realized that this was only the beginning. The aliens had never seen a human act like this, and neither had he. Something deep inside him told him that his life here would change everything. The queen's eyes followed him, silent and powerful, promising challenges and surprises. Jason took another deep breath, ready to face whatever came next. His heart was pounding, but he felt alive for the first time. He knew that he was not just a human, he was Earth's prototype, and he could change the way the universe saw humans. Jason followed the alien queen through the glowing forest. The plants pulsed with light, and strange creatures peeked from behind them. He felt the weight of 1,000 eyes watching him. Every step he took was careful, but his heart raced with excitement and fear. The queen stopped at a large clearing. In the middle stood a platform floating above a pool of shimmering liquid. She gestured toward it, and Jason understood that this was his next test. The other aliens circled around, whispering and watching him closely. Their expressions were a mix of curiosity and doubt. Jason looked at the platform. It seemed impossible to reach, no visible way to step on it. The shimmering liquid below looked dangerous, glowing with colors that made him dizzy. He could hear the whispers of the aliens, saying, "No human can do this." Their laughter was quiet but sharp, slicing through the air. He took a deep breath. Remembering his training, he had learned to trust his instincts. Even if the task seemed impossible, he knew he had to try. Jason noticed small glowing lines along the edge of the platform. They were faint, but they looked like a path. He carefully stepped forward, feeling the platform respond to his touch. The aliens gasped. Some stepped back, whispering nervously. Jason felt a surge of courage. He moved faster, using his hands and feet to balance. Every step was tense, every move counted. One slip could end everything. Suddenly, a strong wave of energy shot from the platform, pushing him to the side. Jason almost fell into the glowing liquid, but he grabbed a strange vine that hung from a nearby tree, pulling himself back up. He looked up at the Queen, expecting anger or disappointment, but she only watched silently, her eyes wide with surprise. Jason realized that the platform was testing more than his strength. It was testing his mind, his courage, his ability to think under pressure. He noticed small symbols along the edge, simple shapes he could match with his memory from Earth. Using logic, he touched the symbols in order, and the platform began to rise slowly. The aliens whispered loudly now, some in shock, some in excitement. Jason's heart pounded. He had done what no human had done before. The platform floated higher, and a small door appeared in the air. The Queen nodded, signaling him to enter. Jason hesitated for a moment, then stepped through. Inside, he found a small chamber filled with floating lights. The lights moved around him, forming patterns he could barely understand. He reached out, and the lights responded, surrounding his hands with warmth. The chamber seemed alive, as if it was testing him, teaching him. Jason felt a strange sense of connection. Something told him that he had passed the first real test. The aliens outside were silent, watching through a glowing window. Their expressions had changed, curiosity replacing doubt. Even the Queen looked impressed, though she did not smile. He took a deep breath, feeling both relief and excitement. Jason knew this was only the beginning. The challenge had been dangerous, but he had acted with courage and intelligence. Something inside him felt stronger, more confident. He realized that humans could surprise even the most advanced beings. As he stepped out of the chamber, the aliens whispered among themselves, their voices filled with astonishment. They had underestimated him, and he had proven them wrong. The Queen approached slowly, her eyes locked on his. There was respect now, and a silent promise of more tests to come. Jason nodded slightly, ready for whatever awaited him next. He knew the journey was far from over, but for the first time, he felt that he could face anything. His actions had changed the way the aliens saw him, and maybe the way they saw all humans. Jason walked through the glowing forest, with the alien Queen behind him. His heart still raced from the last challenge. He felt proud, but also nervous. The forest seemed calmer now, yet a strange tension hung in the air. Suddenly, the Queen stopped, raising her hand. A soft hum filled the air, growing louder by the second. Jason looked around and saw a clearing ahead, but it was not empty. The ground shimmered, forming jagged shapes like spikes and traps. The aliens had set up a new challenge, one far more dangerous than the last. Jason's stomach tightened. He had to cross the clearing, but one wrong step could be fatal. The spikes glowed with bright red light, and he could feel the energy radiating from them. The Queen stepped aside silently, letting him face the challenge alone. The other aliens watched, whispering among themselves, their voices filled with doubt and curiosity. He studied the path carefully, trying to find a safe route. Every step needed thought, every movement needed care. Jason took a deep breath and moved forward slowly, his boots barely touching the glowing ground. One wrong move, and the spikes might react. Midway through, a sudden pulse of energy shot from the ground, throwing him off balance. Jason stumbled, grabbing a strange vine nearby to steady himself. His heart raced, but he did not give up. He noticed faint patterns in the energy pulses, repeating in a rhythm. If he could move with the rhythm, he might survive. He focused, counting each pulse in his mind, matching his steps perfectly. Slowly, carefully, he crossed the first half of the clearing. The aliens gasped at his skill, some whispering, "Impossible for a human." Jason felt a surge of confidence. He was doing what no human had done before. Then, the ground shifted, creating new spikes where there were none. The challenge was changing dynamically, testing him in ways he had never imagined. Jason's mind raced. He thought quickly, using logic and observation. He adjusted his steps, moving faster but carefully. His body felt every vibration of the ground, every change in energy. Halfway through, a small alien creature appeared, hovering near him. Its glowing eyes followed his movements. Jason froze for a moment, unsure if it was friend or foe. Then, he noticed it seemed to guide him, pointing him towards safe spots. The creature chirped softly, and Jason nodded, understanding that not all aliens wanted him to fail. Finally, he reached the last section, a narrow path above a pool of glowing liquid. His legs shook, but he took one final step, balancing carefully. The platform beneath him glowed, reacting to his presence. Slowly, he crossed safely, reaching solid ground on the other side. The aliens erupted in whispers and amazed murmurs. They had never seen a human survive such a test. The Queen's eyes widened slightly, a hint of admiration visible. Jason exhaled, feeling relief and triumph. But he knew this was only the middle of his journey. More challenges awaited, harder than any before. As he looked back at the dangerous clearing, he realized that his mind and courage were now stronger. He had survived when no one thought he could. The humans back on Earth would never believe what he had done. But here, he had proven himself, and even the aliens could no longer ignore him. The Queen stepped forward. Placing a hand near his shoulder, Jason felt the weight of her gaze, full of expectation and silent challenge. His journey was far from over, but for the first time, he felt truly ready. The path ahead was uncertain, dangerous, and full of surprises. Yet, he knew he could face it, for he was not just a human, he was Earth's prototype, and he could change everything. Jason walked carefully through the alien city. The glowing towers stretched high into the sky, strange lights moving along their surfaces. The air felt heavier than before, as if the planet itself was watching him. The Queen followed silently, her presence commanding and intense. He had passed the first tests, survived the dangerous clearing, and amazed the aliens. But now, he knew the ultimate challenge awaited him. The Queen had summoned him to the Grand Chamber, a place humans had never entered before. Its doors were enormous, etched with glowing symbols that seemed to shift as he looked at them. Jason took a deep breath, trying to calm his racing heart. The aliens around him whispered and watched, some curious, some doubtful. All eyes were on him as he stepped forward. The Queen's gaze never left him, silent and powerful, inside the Grand Chamber. The floor glowed with intricate patterns, moving and changing like living circuits. The Queen raised her hand, and the lights shifted into a puzzle, a test unlike any he had seen. Jason realized that this was not only a test of courage or strength, but of intelligence and intuition. The puzzle emitted pulses of energy, reacting to his every move. A wrong step could trigger a trap, yet hesitation could also be dangerous. Jason studied the patterns carefully, trying to understand their rhythm. He remembered his training, the simple logic exercises Earth had taught him, and focused on the shapes and colors. The aliens watched silently, their whispers gone, waiting for him to fail. Jason's hands moved quickly, touching the symbols in order. Each touch lit up a section of the floor. The energy pulses grew faster, forcing him to think and act quickly. His mind raced, but he remained calm, trusting his instincts. Suddenly, a wall of light rose between him and the exit, blocking his path. The Queen's voice echoed through the chamber, soft but commanding. "Solve it, human, or turn back." Jason's heart pounded, but he didn't hesitate. He noticed a small detail in the light patterns, a sequence that matched something he had seen earlier. With careful precision, he touched the sequence, holding his hand steady as the light responded. Slowly, the wall began to lower, revealing the path forward. The aliens gasped in astonishment, some stepping back in disbelief. The Queen's eyes widened slightly, a flicker of surprise and respect appearing. Jason took another deep breath. Stepping forward, he reached the final part of the chamber, a small pedestal with a glowing orb hovering above it. He extended his hands cautiously, and the orb responded, floating gently into his grasp. The chamber filled with a soft, warm light, and the energy pulses stopped. Leaving silence, the Queen approached him, her face unreadable. Jason waited, unsure what would happen next. Then she nodded slowly, a gesture of acknowledgement. The humans had always been underestimated, but this human, Earth's prototype, had proven himself in ways no one expected. The aliens whispered among themselves, amazement in their voices. Jason felt a mixture of relief and pride. He had passed the ultimate personal test, showing courage, intelligence, and determination. The Queen finally spoke in her own language, but Jason could feel the meaning in her tone. Respect, challenge, and a hint of admiration. He stepped out of the Grand Chamber, his mind racing. The path ahead was still uncertain, yet he felt stronger, more confident. He knew the final part of his journey would come soon, and when it did, he would be ready. For he was not just a human, he was Earth's prototype, and he had changed the way these aliens saw him forever. Jason stepped out of the Grand Chamber, the warm light from the orb fading behind him. The alien city stretched around him, quiet now, but full of energy. The aliens watched him, their eyes wide with astonishment, whispers of respect passing through the crowd. The Queen approached, her presence commanding yet calm. She stopped a few steps away and studied him carefully. Jason felt the weight of her gaze, as if she could see every thought inside his mind. For a moment, silence filled the air, tense and heavy. Then she raised her hand, and all the aliens fell silent. Her voice echoed clearly in the clearing. This human has defied all expectations. He has shown courage, intelligence, and heart. Jason's heart raced. He had expected praise, but not such a declaration. The aliens around him murmured, some bowing slightly, showing newfound respect. Jason stepped forward, unsure what to do. He had faced danger, solved impossible challenges, and earned the respect of an entire alien civilization. Yet, he felt there was more to come. The Queen gestured toward a hovering platform, and Jason followed, curiosity and caution mixing inside him. The platform rose slowly into the air, carrying him above the glowing city. Jason looked down, seeing the alien world in a way no human ever had. The beauty and power of the planet filled him with awe, and he realized how much humans had to learn from this place. Suddenly, a holographic projection appeared above the platform, showing Earth, the alien Queen, and humans together in a way Jason had never imagined. The Queen spoke again. Your actions have shown us humans are not weak. They have potential we never believed possible. Jason felt pride swell in his chest. He had changed the alien's view of his species forever. Then, the Queen added something unexpected. There is one more act, one choice only you can make. This will define the future of your kind and ours. Jason's mind raced. What could it be? Would he risk everything again? The aliens around him waited silently, their eyes fixed on him. Jason stepped forward carefully, and the Queen handed him a small device, glowing with strange energy. He realized this was a test of trust and wisdom. He had to decide whether to use it for himself or for the benefit of all. The weight of the choice pressed on him, but he knew the answer. With steady hands, Jason activated the device, sending a pulse of energy throughout the city and into the sky. The aliens gasped, feeling the power and intention behind his action. He had chosen wisely, using it to help the planet and build trust between humans and aliens, not for glory, not for reward, but for hope and connection. The Queen smiled faintly, the first genuine smile Jason had seen from her. You are more than we imagined, Earth's prototype, she said. Her words filled him with pride and awe. The aliens cheered silently, their respect now complete. Jason felt a sense of peace and purpose. He had arrived as a human laughed at and underestimated. Yet, he had proven himself, faced impossible challenges, and changed the way an entire civilization saw his kind. He looked up at the stars, knowing his journey was far from over. But for now, he had achieved what few could. As the platform slowly descended, Jason caught a glimpse of a distant alien ship, its lights flickering mysteriously. The Queen noticed it too, but said nothing, leaving a hint that new adventures awaited. Jason smiled, ready for the next challenge, for he was Earth's prototype, and one act had truly changed everything.